thought. I want to try something. Now, I'm not for a minute going to think this is my idea, although I did have an idea. But I don't know if I've seen it somewhere before, or I did just think of it. But I'm going to try something. And if you want to watch and find out what I'm going to try, you're more than welcome. If you don't, then that's up to you. Bye. Right. The idea is to take out third gear. I don't use third gear. I very rarely use second gear. I put an 80 turn motor in almost everything, and most of my trucks I just have first gear. I use first gear all the time. That goes a little tiny bit quicker than I normally walk. So even that's too fast really, because walking pace is about what you need for a truck. So I very rarely use second. I do use it occasionally, not very often. I never use third. So the idea is to take third gear out, which, looking at the gearbox, I am 99% sure is this end section. So basically remove this selector, this cog, doesn't matter about this cog because it ain't going to connect to nothing. You can remove that and all, but it's not going to connect to nothing, so it doesn't matter. Remove these two. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to remove that hex nut, whatever the hell it is underneath that this fits on. Well, you can see this bit fits on, a bit in there, because of the, obviously the selector, otherwise that's going to be resting on it and clicking and God knows what else. You could take the selector off, but then obviously you've got there's going to be a lot of play in it because the springs won't be doing their job because you'll have a gap there. I guess you could cut the ends off if you really wanted to. Personally, I think you're better off leaving it in case you want to put it back on again afterwards, in case you want to for some reason use third gear again. I can't see why personally, but that's just me. I might, if there's no pin on there, let's get it apart anyway and see. That's the plan anyway, that's the plan. Now, I had this idea ages ago, but then forgot all about it. And then when I've done the, I've got an itchy ear and I've got oil on my hands, so bear with me. When I've done the Homer Simpson recovery drive on drive off tow truck thingamajiggy, whatever you want to call it, I've done a video of it pulling up onto the back of it, the Polar Bear Mercedes I built. And it did pull it up on it, but obviously it struggled because it's turning this lot at the same time, isn't it? And the motor, it's dragging it up more than anything. Now you wouldn't do that in real life, you'd put it in neutral. But as we know, there isn't a neutral on these trucks. You could faff about with the endpoints on your radio and get it so in third gear it don't quite connect, but there's always that chance it could connect. So I thought, I don't use third gear, just take it out. Doesn't bother me. So my theory being is, if I take it out, you can put it into third gear on the radio, but because it's not connected, it will be neutral. Now I got this idea way back years ago. I remember seeing years, well, I do mean years, a long time ago, someone or a couple of people on a forum I used to be on done a mod where they changed the gearbox to a 2-speed, and basically what they done was took everything out what was third gear and then cut everything down to put the plate back on the end. So obviously it was shorter. And then what they had to do with this is they cut a section out and glued it back together and fit it on. So you lost probably 20 mil, 25 mil off the back end of it to make it shorter. And then I'm pretty sure it goes in the cab, you don't even see it. But that intrigued me and I thought, yeah, I might try that. Which, another thing I never got round to, I just thought I can't be arsed. Going to all that problems, just don't use third gear. But then I thought a little bit afterwards that rather than cutting it all down, leave it and have the third gear as a neutral. So it gives you a lot of advantages if you're towing it, if you're just pushing it, if you can do anything with it. Or the one thing I like about the MFC03 is it's got that clutch on the stick. You pull the stick down and you can rev the engine. You can't do that on the one, where with this you could, because again, theoretically, I'm not 100% sure this is going to work, but theoretically you could put it into third stroke neutral and rev the nuts off of it if you like, because it ain't going to go nowhere, is it? It's going to rev up, it's going to think it's driving. The motor might even turn, but there'd be no connection for it to spin the wheels. There'd be no drive coming out of it. So, like I said, I don't even know if it's going to work. It's just a little theory I've had. I just felt like I need to try. Do you know, I need to try. What if you put that side of that? That still gives you the thing. Won't it? Will it? That's a good call, Mr. Sparks. That's a good call, but not at the moment because I need to get that pin back on. Now, if you try this, if anyone tries this, if you don't all think I'm completely mad, I'm not convinced myself if I am or not. One thing I would suggest, because I thought about this bit a lot actually, make sure you put this E-clip back on, because it holds this bearing in. Don't forget that goes in there, that goes on there, then the bearing. If you don't put this clip on, that bearing could work loose and come out onto the rod. Then you're in all sorts of trouble because it'll be rattling all over the gaff. I could actually take that one off as well, but do I need to? I don't think I do. I think that's all I need. Put that back on. That's the trouble with these jobs. You get. See, is that going to go up onto that cog? Have I got another? Actually, there's a thing there. I can put a C-clip in. Ha ha! That's done me a favour. That's done me a favour. Shows I've never tried this before. Look, I'm making this up. I'm literally making this up as I go along. Usually where my best work comes from. I'll be back in a minute. I've got to go and get my finger condom. Right, I am back with my finger condom. That should be okay. To go back. Oh, I think. You've got to line the bloody holes up. Right, let's put a screw back in. I don't know, I've moved the camera back, hopefully you can see more, but I don't know if you can. I can't really put the camera anywhere else. I could try it, I don't know if it'll work up there, because it'll be closer and it'll... No, the cameras ain't designed for close up. I did put a mount up here to put GoPro on. So it's looking straight down. I don't know if that would work. How good it would be. I'll have to try that one day. Or did I already try it? My brain's crap. Right. Get rid of it on the floor. Let's try this again, shall we? So that's definitely in gear, because everything is spinning. That's in gear. What the hell is that? What's going on there? Yeah, I thought that, because I took that thing off, it's not enough. Oh, not enough. So, maybe this ain't going to work after all. Oh yeah, because the drive shaft ain't moving. Now the drive shaft is moving. And the drive shaft's moving, so that's first and second. Into third. Now drive shaft. Ha ha! So the motor all spins, obviously. Does it work the other way though? Yeah, look, spin the drive shaft. Spin the drive shaft. That actually works. I'm kind of surprised myself actually. That does actually work. Right, pips, we are back. Because that didn't work how I planned. It did work. Kind of worked. But it stopped second engage. What am I talking about now? It stopped second gear from engaging. And I think it's to do with the third gear selector also acts as like a spacer to separate first and second selectors. I'll show you what I mean. So you got first goes like that, and then just connects onto there to do second, and then third one back here. When you select third, it separates second and first, so it disengages them, which then gives you third, and that acts as a spacer to make sure that goes back in all the time. But it wasn't going back in because the spacer wasn't there to push it back in. So although I thought I was getting second gear, it was only going into first gear. Hence why it was so slow. So I've put that back in. So what I'm going to do is slight change, as in put the gear back on a selector, but take this gear off of the top one instead. So then you've still got the spacers, and it should theoretically do the same job, but then it should be second gear and third gear is neutral, where at the moment it's first gear and third gear. And the trouble is with this motor and this truck, first gear is slow. It's probably the best scale speed, but it's very slow at times. You want it a little bit quicker really. So like I said, I'm going to put them back on. Where have I put them? Where have I put them? There they are. So if we put, actually let's take that one, let it come off. It will come off, but it will come off. Whoop. Don't lose that because I need that. So I can put that back on. I can put that pin, that E-clip back. Right, so that's on there, that's on there. That's got to go that away, so that connects to that. Yeah, got to get that on, haven't I? Got to get that on there. Right, so if that goes like that, that goes on there. That's got to go on there. Then we need the E-clip back on there. The other way you could do it, I guess, if you had something, cut this off, the actual fork bits, or a little bit of tubing or something in there would do it. But actually, if this works, this is easier because you're just taking one cog off. Well, then. If it works. No reason why it shouldn't, it worked. You've just seen in the video, if you've just watched it, it actually worked, but it didn't work properly. It did, that's unfair, it did work properly. It was just not the gear I was expecting. So I was expecting second, and for the life of me I couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting second. But then also I've just had quite a lengthy conversation with another party, a polar bear party, and it took both of our heads together to figure out what was going on, because we couldn't understand why taking out third gear would affect second gear. But the second gear selector, the third gear selector, is acting also as a spacer to make sure that it stays connected in first and second, and then unselects in third, if that makes sense. We get this screw on and I'll try and explain it a bit better, you know. Right, so this is what I've done. I took the top cog off here. So first gear pulls this cog into this cog, which gives you the drive. Second gear is just letting go of that, and it connects that selector with that selector, which drives this one. It's already in it, it ain't got to go across. But this is the one driving. First is actually driving second by them being connected like they are. When you go into third, it disconnects the second from first, so then that's no drive on that, but it engages third. That's how it works. And what happens is, if you haven't got that there, there's no reason for that to come back. It's not forcing second back into first, so there's no drive. Where now you can feel it locking, but third will just spin because it's not connected to nothing. That won't, because it's connected to first. If you disconnect it into third, it will still spin, but it won't spin the motor. But if you let it go, it goes back to second. Hopefully that's worked. Hopefully. So if we put a battery on now, so that's second, that's first, and third is nothing. So that's the easiest option then, is just take that one out if you want to do it. If you want to try it, take that cog out. That's all you need to do, leave the rest of it alone. Otherwise it doesn't work properly. You will only have first gear, which if you've got a normal silver can in there, you're still going to be very quick. Right, pips, so hopefully this should be second gear now. So that's a bit better, isn't it? And that should be neutral. Neutral. Drive. just to show an experiment here. Let's do a little experiment. If I can drive and steer at the same time. And film. Drive and steer. I can drive and steer. Can I film? Is that going to go up there? No, not really. But the gears are holding it. So as soon as I push, how are we going to do this? As soon as I push free, it comes down because it went into neutral. Oh. And straight onto the stones. Let's do it onto another one. Easier on this one here, I think. Not so bad. Right, that should be holding it. If I push the button, it's not slopey enough. But you get the gist. Neutral. Gears. So it definitely works. I could have first and second, or second and third. No, I can't have third, so yeah, I can have first and second. If I had enough channels. Well, I've got enough channels, but third channel on here is just a switch. But let me see if I can get it. Didn't do what I wanted to do. So, right, so you can see where it is now. Push third gear, or third button. Nope. Nope, it's playing up again. There's something wrong with that bloody servo, there's got to be. Or is it the receiver? It's got to be the receiver, isn't it? But the gearbox works anyway, we know that. So that's another one done. Right, let's have a look. Why? Oh. It's bloody working now. Perhaps the receiver, there's a bit of a issue with the receiver maybe. Don't know, but it's working. So I'm going to call that on the mod of the first attempt, the second attempt, by removing just that cog, the furthest one away from the motor on the top row, lets you have a true neutral gear. If you so wish to have one. Maybe it'll help someone. See you on the next one, if there is a next one.